G'day there, ladies and gents of the internet. I am the Braveheart Aussie and welcome to a journey in world building. Today we are going to take a step back from the micro of the settings of the Dark Diaspora to examine a more macro threat plaguing the heirs of humanity. In our first threat video, we explored the xenobiological metallic hybrid species known as the Phage. Part plant, part virus, the Phage has been a pervasive threat in the northeastern reaches of the Dark Diaspora for several centuries. And it is in this region that we will be exploring the second of our threats today. One that's less biological, instead has more of an environmental character, the Murzurdan Flux. Named for one of the largest independent worlds positioned in the region's western flank, the Flux is an area of anomalous gravitational, temporal and spatial anomalies. Extending almost 1600 light years across, the region stretches from Murzurdan to Harlos in the western edge of the Tyson Sector Compact. Discovered and subsequently researched and surveyed by the Murzurdan scientific cast, the borders of the Flux were mapped at much risk of peril to life and ship 4 centuries ago. This survey identified countless anomalies, many of which remain unexplained. These include temporal and emergent wormholes, tears and knots in space-time creating circuitous paths, and temporal breaches and loops. All of these anomalies are potentially catastrophic and dangerous in nature. However, the most dangerous of the charted anomalies are referred to as the Null Nodes. These are areas of space with limited outward identifiers to differentiate themselves from the empty void. Yet approaching one of these nodes will quickly see the ship pulled into an inescapable well of gravity-less attraction that ultimately sees the ship, its crew, and all matter and energy they are comprised of totally, utterly, and completely extinguished. The nodes break advanced understandings of energy and information permanency in astrophysics and quantum mechanics, and scientific evidence are continuing to understand this dynamic. It appears that the spatial anomalies associated with the Flux has had a limiting effect on the formation of stars and with planetary systems. One of the main exceptions to this is what is known as Nord star, and with its sole planet of Chronox. This is located in the western reach of the region and became the first time in which a counter-temporal body was ever witnessed by humanity. The star and planet seem to be travelling through space against the flow of time. While uninhabited when first settled, subsequent approaches found a fully developed techno-industrial civilization with orbital space stations and a planetary population in excess of 100 million people only a month later. However, contact with the planet became impossible due to differences between the planet and real space-time flows, and the planet was quickly quarantined, particularly when the flow of time of the planet appeared to have inverted. Estimates place the planet's misalignment with real space-time at over 600 years, meaning that it won't be until another 300 years in the future when real and Chronox space-time will align. It is unclear whether this temporal convergence will simply be a momentary alignment or whether this will see Chronox re-enterize the normalized time stream. Ultimately, the reason or cause of this temporal anomaly surrounding the planet is unknown and remains the focus of considerable intellectual and social conjecture. It also has made the planet the subject of conspiracy theories, as well as a target for desperate and delusional people seeking to land on the planet in the hope of travelling into the future or back in time. Orbital satellites placed around the planet by the Murzurdan scientific cast also seek to maintain a high level of observation over the planetary surface to identify potential technological advancements that this inverted space-time civilization may have previously or in the future have developed so that they could be reverse engineered. Whatever the motivation, the small number of vessels that have managed to evade quarantine, as well as probes sent to the surface by the scientific cast, have otherwise disappeared without a trace upon entering the Chronox atmosphere. Apart from the planet of Chronox and around Nord Star, the most notable other location within the Flux is referred to as Cernicus Passage. This passage, representing an ever-changing corridor that bisects the Flux in the broadly central position, is the only navigatable pass through the region. Named after the first ship to make its way through the passage, the Murzurdan science ship, the MSS Cernicus, the passage requires up to 15 microjumps of less than 2 seconds each using AG drives to transit between a number of stable but ever relocating points of space-time within the corridor. These points of relative stability are similar in nature to Lagrange points within stellar systems, and are where there are competing forces of various gravitational and temporal anomalies in the local region that cancel each other out. The microjumps last for less than 2 seconds, and as a result, that creates a significantly limiting effect on the risk of the malady being incurred by individuals. Therefore, hardened crews who make the passage can generally forego the use of the fog. However, even the cumulative effect of these jumps appears to have a deteriorating effect over time and can trigger latent and dormant malady symptoms among crew and passengers after several runs. This has resulted in many of the powers imposing limits on how often people and ships can make their way through the passage during their lifetime. However, those that are unrestricted by such regulations, including free flagger ships, can make the trip as often as they want, but have the risk of succumbing to the malady, which is usually no more than 30 trips. The current record for the most number of trips made through the passage is held by the free flagger captain Octavius Nex of the FFS Nexus 1, with 147 successful journeys. However, this overall potential occurrence of the malady after several and up to 30 trips means that it has been somewhat of a constraint on the frequency and number of people transiting through the passage. This, coupled with the ever-changing nature of the path, rendering automated pod passaging challenging, as well as the proximity to the expansion of the Necrom Phage, has played a central role in the underdevelopment of northern parts of the Dark Diaspora sphere of influence over the past 6 centuries. And that is where we're going to leave this threat profile today. If you've enjoyed this one, please make sure you leave a like and also comment, as all interactions help my channel grow. Also consider subscribing so we can continue along our journey to 100,000 subscribers. But that is it for today. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and may the journey continue.